gonna go through the trading week, kind of just explain to you guys what I do remember in terms of my thought processes, in terms of the setups, in terms of whatever there is to go through. And then basically there will be something for you guys along the way, hopefully, for you guys to pick up. Be better traders tomorrow. But otherwise, let's get started, guys. Let's get into the setups and see what the whole trading week was like. So I think just for ease of us being able to see what's going on here, maybe let's just stick to us kind of being on the 1 hour and the 15 minute. We're not going to go into and discuss any entry criteria or anything of that nature. We're just here to speak about the setups and I guess the result of the week. So otherwise, getting into things, so we have Aussie CAD here. So basically, yes, we were higher time frame bullish bias, I guess, but sell bias because of where we were in terms of being by this resistance trend line there. Hence, obviously, our sell bias over the course of the week. We got into this first entry here. Very nice entry, I guess. Market came back, manipulated back into our zone, I guess, bringing us into a negative. And then eventually the momentum ended up coming into the market. We got sent. We were holding nice big blues, and then market reversed on us without us being able to manage the position, because basically what we were waiting for was for structure to break or whatever the case was, for us to be able to move to move our stops. But otherwise, market came back and then we took a nice L over there. Nonetheless, we got our second entry on this exact same setup. We waited, exercised patience, waited for the market to change, and then obviously be sell bias. Once we saw nice breaks of structure, obviously market came back to retest in there. We got a beautiful sniper entry right on the wick there, because obviously my entry time frames as I'm trading the week are the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and sometimes the 15 minute. Now it's very rare that I do look for entry criteria on the higher time frames. I more so look for entry criteria on the 1 minute and the 5 minute. But otherwise, not really relevant to today's video. Let's continue. So obviously we did take our second L over there. So that brings us to now taking 2 L's, 1 L, another L over there. Obviously this trade that you guys do see running and that's open right now is, we did open this today, so it's still Friday for me right now. This market is still open, market is still running, this is still running, so this is not part of the equations and not part of basically the weekly result. So otherwise, we got into these first two positions, took a L, cool. There we were looking for more positions. Otherwise, we get into Aussie Swiss franc. Aussie Swiss franc gave us another beautiful entry over there. We took this entry, guys. This entry ended up resulting in our break even, because obviously you guys can see we had levels of structure there. Nice break and close below. We managed our position, but I decided to just manage my position to break even. And as you guys can see in the results there, we took a nice 0% because market came back and gave us absolutely nothing after we were holding all of this profit, guys, all of this profit. And obviously market came back, gave us nothing. Otherwise, what I did do while this position was on was I did take another scale in entry, and obviously I only took the scale in entry after my first position was at break even, so there was no risk on the first position. That's why I took the second position at 1%. Otherwise, we got into this position, market gave us something nice. We always get in where, or at least I feel like I have a decent understanding on what's going on. So you'll probably see that this week a lot of the positions that we did take were either before the momentum, in terms of like we got in too early, or we got in, or rather market didn't give us an opportunity to take a trade. Like obviously this trade here was another missed opportunity where we were looking for a nice reduced risk entry. So obviously after we took this break even and this L, we were down already -3% on the week, obviously after these 4 positions. And obviously we were looking for this 5th position over here. Market did not give us an opportunity to enter into the trade, so we missed all of that momentum. Otherwise, moving along to AJ, guys, AJ was another one of those frustrating pairs. So first position that we did take was in and around this area. Market did give us something for a while, but took us into a drawdown, put us back into profits, and then finally took us out of the position there, wicked us out before maybe I thought the momentum was coming in. But yeah, I was done for the day. There was no other entry that I could have taken, and I'm glad that I did not look for another entry, because obviously market came back and poked above the wick that took us out before this momentum that maybe might have pumped in someone that was emotional about this position. But otherwise, we took our L, we stayed out of the market. Next day, obviously, I saw this position over here. This position, I did set a nice limit order. Wasn't able to watch the charts fully, but otherwise we did take another L, obviously just before the momentum came in. Is what it is. So basically, to catch up on the results after that break even trade, Let's just move this. After this break even trade, we took another L. Then we followed by two more losses, and so you guys can already see we down minus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At this point, we down minus 5% on AJ already. As the week goes, we go on to AU. AU decides to give us another L over there and another L over there. So hopefully, I was obviously looking for some sell-price momentum. We're at this resistance trend line there. I see structure being bearish. Obviously, it's corrective. I do understand the probabilities. I take my L. Market gives me the profits. FOMC takes me out of the market. It is what it is. The next day, we find another entry. Wait for the market to change. We see some nice downside momentum over here. Obviously, we wait for the pullback. We take this nice re-entry over there. Market gives us something nice. There is no follow through. And then obviously today, you guys can see the momentum is following through, but we decided not to take AU today. I don't usually trade on a Friday. AUD CAD was just because the setup was that nice. But otherwise, let's go on to Swiss Yen. So obviously, guys, we down hectically. Swiss Yen, we take Swiss Yen, we set limit orders on Swiss Yen. We actually had two limit orders here, a scalp and a swing. Both of those limit orders were equivalent to just one position. So obviously, we took this L again on this beautiful setup, obviously just before the momentum was actually going to follow through. We were a little bit too early. I did actually see this the head and shoulders forming inside of this area here, this 1 hour doji. I was watching that 1 hour doji and I could have re-entered into this position, but I do not enter the markets after 7 p.m. And this candlestick, if you guys can see the time straight here below, was exactly at 8 p.m. So obviously 1 hour after I stopped trading. So I had to just leave it, had to just let it go. Obviously the momentum followed through. It is what it is. We go on to New Zealand dollar CAD. So obviously you guys can see this is the pair that finally gave us some nice RR. So basically by this point, guys, we were down minus 1, minus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We were down minus 7%. We took 7 losses almost in a row besides the one break even trade. Almost 7 losses. We can even say eight trades, and the market gave us absolutely nothing in a row. Obviously, I think, or at least I owe this to part of my psychology and just being able to just keep a straight face in the heat of the battle. New Zealand dollar CAD obviously did present another entry, another beautiful sniper entry, and this position, well, fortunately, as much as this was one of the trades that was a low probability setup for me because I was high time frame bullish bias, this was a trade that actually ran to TP. So otherwise, this gave us a nice return of 16 R with a beautiful, guys, we only risked 5 pips for this trade, only 5 pip stop loss for a nice 84 pip target, but otherwise nonetheless we got a nice 16% over there. So that kind of pushed me, made me feel a little bit better. And I was holding this position for 3 days, mind you. I entered this position on Monday. This position literally only closed on Wednesday. So otherwise I was holding this for 3 days, and I guess okay hold, and it was kind of okay for me to take all of these L's here because at least on my MT4 I did see that there was one position throughout all of these L's that was in profit. So I guess maybe it did help a little bit in terms of my psychology and being able to just keep taking the trades when my entry criteria does present itself, regardless of how or what T.Mayne thinks about that position. I guess let's go on to New Zealand dollar yen. So New Zealand dollar yen, we did take one entry. So obviously, if we come back to the DXY here where we wrote our results, you guys can see after we took that 16R, we did take 1L over there, minus 1. That minus 1 was on New Zealand dollar yen. If we go on to a 15, or at least down to a 15, I was looking for some upside momentum on this day here. Obviously, overall, I was bearish, but for the day, I did observe an opportunity to find maybe, or to capitalize on a smaller time frame bullish run. And obviously, in this case, we were a little bit too early, guys. We got in a little bit too early, obviously, just before at least market pumped me in. I like to call this a manipulation to some degree, where I get manipulated into the move. I'm not saying I got manipulated out of the move, but I saw criteria that was relevant to me before the time was actually right according to the market. So otherwise, I was pumped into this market a little bit too early. Market ended up taking me out before we see the actual momentum coming and completing the actual move. Nonetheless, that gave us another minus 1. coming into US30 was our Thursday trade, and US30 was a little bit of an anomaly because on this trade I had missed this first pin here down below, and then half past for some odd reason brought the market back below these lows here. So my general consensus on US30, and this was an interesting one in terms of what I did. So for this position, I did not really wait for entry criteria that I would normally wait for to enter this market. I did take some type of an entry criteria that I don't normally take, but nonetheless, my overall perspective here was that market needed to clear out some buyers. There were some people that were in on this bullish move that shouldn't have been there, and market needed to clear those people out before we saw more upside to complete this overall bullish momentum, because this overall bullish momentum was not done. We expect impulse, correction, and impulse to complete a move. Obviously the market needed to breathe. So within this corrective structure, obviously this pin over here, which was a little bit premature, I missed that. Managed to find market coming back, or at least I looked at the market below where this line here I had drawn and said to myself, anytime market comes below this line, there is no reason buyers should not want to buy below this price point. But this was 32050, so below that price point, obviously I was expecting that buyers should be wanting to buy this market. But nonetheless, market did come down inside there on a smaller time frame. We did see a whole lot of freaky stuff. I did take an entry that I don't normally take, but nonetheless, result of this trade was a nice return of 4%. So another trade that was kind of almost out of the blue. I wouldn't say it was against my plan, but I would say that I didn't really get entry criteria for this trade, because I did take an entry criteria that I don't normally take, or rather it's not part of my process, but rather my overall thought processes was still part of my overall plan. So in terms of the overall bigger picture, I did follow the plan, but nonetheless, let me not get used to that type of thing. So let's try to not make that happen again. But nonetheless, if we go back and look at the DXY and see what happened over the course of the week, if I can find this, or do I need to go to a much higher time frame? Okay, yes, let's go up to the hourly. There we go, it's back. So obviously we took this nice last Thursday trade of 4%, and then obviously Friday we in this Aussie cat sell that we did not take into account. So guys, if we do the math here, take into account all of our negatives, guys, we took 8 losses, we took 1 break-even trade, and we took obviously 2 wins that gave us a return of 20%. So obviously we do the maths, we end up with a nice return of 12%. But you guys can see I did some additional maths here. So let me explain this additional maths. This is secret maths because, guys, when I take a trade, I don't open a position risking 1% of my account. I risk 0.25% of my account. So meaning not 1%, 1/4 of this number. So all of these values here, all we've just done is divide everything by 4, obviously to get the quarter. What did I actually return in terms of my risk and the RR? So obviously we took a nice return of 12R. 12R divided by 4, that gives me a nice return of plus 3% for the week. So obviously, if we did all the maths, we would have got minus 0.25. So obviously 4 of these trades, 1, 2, 3, 4, that would have been 1% minus 1%, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, that would have been another 1 minus 1%, and then obviously 16 divided by 4. Let's see, that's 4, 8, 12, 16. That would give us, we got minus 2 already. That would give us plus 4. If we just do the maths the normal way, and then obviously we got this 4 divided by 4, that's plus 1, obviously. And then obviously minus 2 plus 4, that would give us plus 2. Obviously plus 2 plus 1, that would give us plus 3, which without doing all of this long complicated maths, we just divide everything by 4 and we obviously just get plus 3. So instead of doing all of that complicated maths and telling you guys, oh no, this trade was 0.25, oh no, that trade was and for everything to be complicated, I simplified it for you guys to show you guys that maths is the answer. No, I'm not singing, guys. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for being part of this YouTube video. So basically, all we did was just recap the week, show you guys what was the trading week like for me, what was the thinking processes like, and obviously, if you guys did learn something or did enjoy the type of content, because I am trying to do something different here. If you did enjoy the type of content, drop a like on this video. Otherwise, do subscribe if you're not subscribed. Guys, let me not keep you any longer. Enjoy.